The NHL is back, and EA Sports has put out their latest entry with NHL 23. There are hundreds of new animations, the inclusions of women's teams in a single mode, and a deeper world of shell, which are all here to try and entice you out of your $70 on the new generation of consoles. I've played the heck out of it over the last few days and found a deep, content-rich title that can play as arcade-like or sim-heavy as you want. In a year of solid sports releases, EA has another damned good title on their hands, so let's break it all down in the XboxEra review of EA Sports NHL 23 for Xbox Series X and S. Sports games have one of the toughest development cycles in all of gaming, especially now with the long period of cross-generation we've been stuck in. This is a review of the Xbox Series X and S version of the game. I covered last year's and I was far more positive on it than most. Looking back now, I can see what I missed in my rushed time with the title. The graphics looked nice, but feature-wise it just felt a bit too copy and paste from NHL 21. The gameplay wasn't nearly as smooth as I remembered, and the Hockey Ultimate Team, aka HUT mode, was rife with typical price versus grind issues. Now, not all of that is fixed this year. HUT is still a bit of a mess, but the graphics and gameplay shine. Though, the gameplay does require a bit of fine-tuning on the user's end, and by a bit, I mean a lot. Getting back to HUT though, one of the big changes for it is the inclusion of multiple women's national team members in both the main HUT and HUT Rivals 2.0 modes. For any sports title, the microtransaction-laden modes are the bread and butter that make the game the most money over time. Thankfully, in NHL 23, the HUT mode is not nearly as front and center in the UI as in other games. I never felt like I was constantly being pushed towards it with massive buttons or constant prompts reminding me that it exists. We were provided with the X Factor edition of the game, which offers up a ridiculous amount of HUT card packs and currency for this review. Hockey Ultimate Team is the typical buy or grind card packs to unlock players for your team, real money fueled mode. There is one offline option for progression that was decently fun to play, but it is mostly focused on playing other players. The deeper your pockets, the better your team. Otherwise, you have to grind an insane amount to get anything close to a top-tier team. It is what it is, and the fans of the mode know what they're getting into. This year's has more in it, including season progression paths. And speaking of playing against other people, this year's title introduces a light form of crossplay. Xbox Series console owners can matchmake against PlayStation 5 owners, but they can't group together. Xbox One players can do the same against PlayStation 4 players, and there is no cross-gen matchmaking at all. It should help with the longevity of the title, though cross-platform parties need to become a thing as soon as possible. Let's get into the modes, which, once again, are kinda similar to last year's. Your online options consist of Hockey Ultimate Team. This is the aforementioned microtransaction-heavy, PvP-focused real money mode. You've got World of Chell. Here you will create a character to play with your friends against other people in an outdoor, more arcade-focused fare. It's a lot of fun, and it has a lot of unlockables in it. Online Versus is your basic PvP mode of real-world hockey, featuring as many real players as you can fit in a rink. Hockey Ultimate Team Rush is a 3v3 outdoor take on the HUT mode that lets you play as unlocked characters, including team mascots. NHL 3's Online, taking one of the best parts of hockey, 3v3 overtime, and making a full arcade-focused game out of it. Offline, you have Play Now, straight up playing a game of hockey featuring current NHL or All-Star teams. Be a Pro Career, a lengthy, cringy dialogue-filled mode where you'll create a player and lead them through their entire career. There are the typical full-on voiced cutscenes, and it's become a pretty standard thing to see in sports titles. Franchise Mode, this one got a bit of love as the number of things to worry about has been ramped up. You are the general manager of your team of choice, and you can choose to run every single aspect of it, or you can have it automated, depending on what you feel like. You can choose from which bathrooms to repair to doing your best to keep your owner from moving to another city. They've added in things like a fog of war for scouting systems, which obfuscates the numbers, while along with more demanding requirements out of the AI-run ownership. This is where I end up spending a lot of my time in any sports game. There are tournaments and IIHF tournaments. The regular ones feature the sport's top tournaments, while the latter is focused on playing as national teams against each other in bracketed events. You have Ones Now, which is a weird outdoor mode where you play 1v1v1 with an AI goalie in a very arcadey take on the sport. It's not that well balanced, but it can be kind of fun. NHL 3s, which is 3v3 action with yet again a more arcadey take on the sport. Season Mode, another personal favorite as you take your franchise of choice through a season of the NHL. It hasn't seen any massive changes, and it didn't really need them. Finally, you have Playoff Mode, where you try and win the Stanley Cup. One funny thing about the Playoff Mode is that EA is touting it, and I directly quote them, "The Stanley Cup celebration is now interactive, allowing users to choose whom they want to pass the cup next, and 65 audio commentary stories have been added to convey the story of your team." There's a heck of a lot more to it. They're really excited about it, and it's kind of cool. There's nothing really groundbreaking on offer for the modes here, but it is a solid selection that tends to favor a faster and less realistic style of play. Visually, I think the game looks great. The textures are clean, the stadiums pop, and most of the players' faces look pretty darn close to their real-life counterparts. The biggest improvement overall here for me though, and it ties directly into the gameplay, are the new animations added in. There's the Desperation Move system, which has added 500 new animations to give you that last chance to make a play on the puck, and it has felt great in practice. I've had to go in and tone down the speed of the game a little bit to make everything feel more realistic overall. But once I did, those animations especially helped add in a sense of control that made me think this feels like hockey in a way that had been missing for a long time now that I finally have gotten to experience it. Also, play along the boards feels improved as well, with scrums resulting in fevered fights over possession. I've had a few issues with some passes not going in the direction I was holding, leading to a few very annoying goals against, but that's been about the biggest issue. The outdoor areas match the arenas in quality and help give the game's outdoor-focused modes more of a personality than some of the drab exteriors of last year's entry. This is all helped along with a solid but buggy presentation. I routinely had the play-by-play mess up and just stop working, and I had to double-check the audio options to make sure that I hadn't turned it off. Normally, just swapping back and forth between on and off fixed things, but a few times it did require a full game reset to get it going again. When it was on though, it was well done, felt natural, and I don't remember any, if many, repeated voice lines. One other thing worth mentioning is the soundtrack to the game, which is an odd mix featuring bands I've never heard of, and Muse, and Korn, and pop punk, and rap, and it's kind of all over the place, but it's got a lot of really good stuff in it. And none of this would matter if the game wasn't fun to play. Much like last year, after some massive tweaking of the numerous in-game settings and sliders, I found that sweet spot of realistic but fun that makes video game sports shine. One thing I couldn't quite solve at first though was the ridiculous accuracy of the CPU when it came to passing the puck. The game loves popping up stats while you're playing, and routinely the CPU's pass completion percentage would be 100% for the game, and I swear I'm not terrible at it. Eventually, I kind of felt forced to up their skill sliders, but lower the overall difficulty of the game from Pro, because even the worst rated player on a team was better than Wayne Gretzky with the puck on his stick when he was looking to pass. In conclusion, I think NHL 23 looks great, it's fun as hell, features a ton of modes, and it'll set you back $70 at the time of launch. If you are a big fan of the sport, and especially if you are into the Hockey Ultimate Team mode, then this latest entry is definitely worth getting. For others though, especially on Xbox, if you have Game Pass Ultimate, I'd say use your 10-hour trial and try before you buy. As always, thank you so much for watching, and if you can like, comment, and subscribe, it is the best way to help our channel grow, and we will see you here next time on XboxEra.